New York sports fans, what's up? Today we're going to be doing a pre-draft video for the NFL draft. I just wanted to give you guys my thoughts about who I think the Jets and the Giants might take. Let's dive right into it. Let's talk first about the Jets. I feel like the Jets have a lot more to cover and a lot more on their plate. I'm not too knowledgeable about the Jets because I'm not necessarily a Jets fan, but being kind of late to football and kind of late to New York football culture, I don't have that much hate for the Jets, and I have no problem covering them like I have hate for the Nets. First of all, let's talk about how the Jets hired a new coach in Robert Saleh. They got rid of Adam Gase, who was just genuinely a cancer to that whole organization. Love the pick there with Robert Saleh, first Muslim NFL head coach too, so shout out to the Muslim community. The Jets did something right by trading Sam Darnold, getting that quarterback out of that situation. Although it didn't work out and it was a lot to burn a third pick on that, no need to look into the past and what the Jets did with the previous regime. Let's look forward to the future. The Jets have a decent amount of picks this year, and you know the main question we want to ask is what holes are they going to fill with the first round picks that they have. The first pick that they have is the second pick. They're clearly going to go for a quarterback. It's just kind of unfortunate that the Jets weren't able to get Trevor Lawrence. They were hoping all season that, you know, they would tank enough and it would be the prize, the consolation prize for a possible 0-16 season, but that's just not how sports work. Just because the fans and the organization want something doesn't mean that the players necessarily want the same thing. We saw that with Jets players who wanted to win games. You don't want to be part of that 0-16 season and be known for that. Although they don't have Trevor Lawrence, they get the first pick in terms of all these quarterbacks, where people are saying that the quarterbacks that are available this year are seeming like, I wouldn't say generational talents, but could really pick a franchise up. So they get their first pick at that selection outside of Trevor Lawrence. So the quarterbacks that are there include Mac Jones, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, and Zach Wilson. From the rumblings around the NFL, it really seems like it's basically guaranteed that the Jets are going to go for Zach Wilson at that second pick. That didn't seem like the case through majority of the season. A lot of people around the NFL basically were enamored by him and see him as a really high talent. A lot of the throws that he can make, that arm is pretty nice, and he's relatively mobile. He can move around a little bit, so people are really looking forward to that Zach Wilson pick for the Jets at quarterback. They still have other options. I do like Justin Fields, and don't know too much about Trey Lance, but have heard good things about him. So, you know, those are very possible, but the Vegas odds are leaning towards the Jets picking Zach Wilson. Sure is going to be there for him just because it's a new regime, and in terms of implications, this is the first pick that this regime has in terms of a quarterback, and you know it's a great place to start. And yes, it's gorgeous to have a clean slate when, you know, the new coach, the new head of the franchise gets to choose who they really want for their regime. It's also a lot of pressure because it's like the person that you choose is basically what you're gonna get blamed for if it works out, or if it doesn't work out, whatever happens. So lots of pressure on Zach Wilson and the Jets, but I think it's a good pick. It makes sense after you miss out on Trevor Lawrence. Really hope Zach Wilson doesn't see ghosts during his tenure. Speaking of ghosts, let's talk a little bit about what the Jets can do with their next pick. So in the first round, they also have pick number 23, and it's about with the Jets, a team like the Jets who are literally last in the league. They could fill any hole and it would be helpful. So whatever hole they fill based on what talent is available, I'd be pretty happy with the Jets. Definitely should be gearing towards picking up maybe an O-line or a defensive player, maybe like a cornerback, or someone who could help out on the O-line, keep Zach Wilson protected. But yeah, definitely don't want to see them jump into something like a receiver. I want to see them go somewhere like a cornerback for sure. I want to see Robert Saleh get some more defensive-minded players in the building and build towards a culture. I like what New York has been doing in terms of the Giants, in terms of the Knicks, and hopefully hopefully with the Jets and putting defense first and becoming a little bit more hard-nosed. They have a lot more picks in this draft later down the line, but I'm not too versed in those late round picks and whatnot. Don't know too much about that, but you know, knowing the Jets, they will be able to fill in a lot of holes. And love Robert Saleh. I think this regime might be able to turn heads around. And I know Jets fans might have a little bit of a sour taste in their mouth from how everything's been going for them, but I see a reason to be optimistic, and best of luck to anyone who's rooting for the Jets. Talk a little bit about the Giants, the team that I am rooting for, if you couldn't tell by my hat. Last year was my first year watching every Giants game, so I do have an idea of what the Giants team needs and what kind of holes they need to fill, and so far they've been doing pretty good. A little bit of an overpay for Kenny Golladay and Adoree Jackson, but love the holes that the Giants have been able to fill in. Getting Daniel Jones, a #1 receiver, really great for the team. And yes, Kenny Golladay is injury prone, definitely worrisome, and yes, he's not your typical receiver that you would think Daniel Jones would get, someone like OBJ who's like a deep threat, but I like that he can catch those contested balls and can really get up in the air. And I really feel like it'll open up things for Slayton and the rest of the receiving core, where we saw that Darius Slayton is good, but you know, I see him more as a wide receiver too. So we do have those deep threats in Slayton and whatnot, and hopefully Kenny Golladay can open up some routes for the rest of those guys. In terms of what they could do with the cornerback position, I like what they've already done. I think the Giants' defense is pretty solid. I like the holes that they filled. Not that there were too many holes. I'd say the edge rusher is where the main hole in the defense is, but I don't think the Giants are going to go for an edge rusher really early on in this draft, because we have like the 11th pick. So don't see them really burning that when they just picked up Adoree Jackson, who's going to be their cornerback 1, and then James Bradbury has played so well last year, looked like a top cornerback. So, you know, the cornerback positions seem kind of locked up. For the Giants, I'm going to have to say we should fill in another wide receiver. If Jalen Waddle or Devonta Smith, any of those Alabama wide receivers are available at that pick, I'm going to have to go with one of them. It seems as though Jalen Waddle is gonna go above Devonta, and I like Waddle a lot, but I love Devonta. I think he's so good. I think people are really undermining him because of his size, and people are really underestimating the kid. But you know, any of those two talents would be amazing to add to our receiver core. And I like the idea of the Giants giving Daniel Jones less of an excuse and more offensive weapons and threats, because I feel like our defensive and our secondary are good. Don't need to add too much there. And I've seen David Gettleman do this over and over again in terms of burning picks to fill up that O-line, and I think we've done enough investment in the O-line. I liked what Andrew Thomas was doing in the second half of the season after Colombo went out, so I'm gonna have to trust them. I'm gonna have to trust Joe Judge and let them do their work. And I really want to see the Giants go for someone like Smith. I think it would be great for our receiving core, and you know, especially if Kenny Golladay ends up being as injury prone as we're expecting, I really want to see them go for someone, a talent like Waddle or a talent like Smith. And I really want to emphasize that this draft is going to be very important in terms of the NFC East. The Giants, Cowboys, and Eagles basically pick back to back to back, and it's going to have a lot of implications, because the players that the Cowboys or maybe the players that the Eagles or the Giants pick, we're going to have to be seeing those players over and over again for the next few years. So definitely very important. With that being said, I don't see the Cowboys really interfering with the Giants' plan, because the Cowboys clearly need defense, and you know, they're gonna have to fill in some holes there. So I don't see them competing too much with the Giants. I was definitely much more concerned when the Eagles had the pick above the Giants, and seeing that they need receivers and whatnot. So I had a feeling that their pick might interfere with ours, but seeing them pull back was kind of questionable in my opinion. I get the netting of another pick, and it's great and all, but a lot of people have mentioned how this draft might have some talents that you don't want to miss out on. It would be great for Jalen Hurts to be able able to add to his arsenal of offensive weapons and make his life a little bit easier. The Eagles screwed us and in the end of the season by throwing that game against Washington. So that had a lot of implications in terms of the Giants playoffs and basically our pick. So we landed right above the Eagles, so I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants pick someone based on not wanting to see that person in the Eagles jersey. Let's say Devontae is available at the pick where the Giants are at. You do not want to see him fall to the Eagles and watch someone who could be possibly a generational talent dance around in a Philadelphia uniform when you got to play them twice a year for every year. You're gonna see a lot of implications based on what's going on in this draft, but really excited for what it does for New York. If you think about the Jets, this is gonna be one of the pivotal moments in terms of resetting their franchise and understanding where they're going to be going down the line. And in terms of the Giants, this is a make or break year for Daniel Jones, who got the offensive pieces, and basically if it doesn't work with him this year, it seems like they're going to move on and hopefully move on from Gettleman as well. Lots of questionable moves from Gettleman. Not the biggest fan of him, but I like the team that the Giants have. I have a lot of faith in Joe Judge. I love the secondary that we have and love the receiving core that we have right now. O-line isn't the greatest, but I like the way that they're trending towards. The only question mark on this whole team is the quarterback position. So let's see if Daniel Jones lives up to the hype and has that Josh Allen type of jump in his third year, or let's see if the cookie crumbles and if the Giants are going to have to join the quarterback carousel next year in the offseason. I just like the future for the Giants regardless. I think they have a good team outside of Daniel Jones. They didn't win the division in the NFC least, but they've definitely shown lots of progress with a new coach, and I love the culture that they're building. What are your guys' thoughts about what this draft could look like? And I want to know who you guys actually want the Jets and the Giants to pick. Definitely want to hear specifically about the Jets and what you guys think about Zach Wilson, because it seems kind of locked in that that's going to happen. And I just want to know what you guys think about the whole Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, the whole Alabama receiver things. And do you guys think Devontae Smith is being undervalued right now, or do you think he's being overvalued? As always, appreciate that you guys are tuning in. If you guys are interested in hearing more about New York sports, make sure you guys are liking and commenting and subscribing. Really appreciate the love again, and hopefully I will talk to you guys after the draft and after Devontae Smith is a New York Giant. Till next time, guys, see you guys soon. Always love. Peace.